Good evening, welcome to Daily Debate. Today we'll talk about the economic summit between Egypt and Qatar, and that marks a significant milestone in bolstering Egypt's momentum toward robust economic recovery and development. Central to the outcome was Qatar's pledge to channel $7.5 billion in direct investment in Egypt in sectors like tourism, real estate and food security. We'll also talk about regional and international tensions and how far they affect investment stability and investment environment in Egypt. Let's start with our top stories today. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli attended a celebration marking the launch of an international academy for agriculture and urbanism. The academy is the offshoot of Egyptian-French cooperation with the National School in Grenbel in France, one of France's best 3 schools in this specialization. The foundation of the academy in Egypt comes within the framework of Egypt's partnership with a number of niche higher schools and global universities in the field of agriculture, planning and urban development. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli received editors-in-chiefs of newspapers in Cairo on Tuesday. During the meeting, Premier Madbouli reiterated that Egypt is a state of institutions. He said Egypt is working on achieving sustainable development, adding that inflation had declined and would continue to retreat until 2028. In his speech, Prime Minister Madbouli noted that global ratings hailed the performance of Egypt's economy. Premier Madbouli also said that subsidies had been reduced but not fully stopped. The UN chief on Tuesday condemned Israel's ground assault on Gaza City as utterly unacceptable, demanding an end to the carnage and warning of growing evidence of genocide in the Palestinian territory. He highlighted that in recent days they had seen expanding attacks in the northwestern parts of Gaza, where the population had sought shelter from previous attacks. He decried in particular the ongoing bombardment of residential buildings that have been serving as shelters for people who have been displaced multiple times. We'll kick off with our report. Let's go for this report and we'll continue after that. Stay tuned, please.
Egypt and Qatar have activated an investment package worth $7.5 billion, renewing their partnership and cooperation after years of extended diplomatic disputes. The announcement followed high-level talks between Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and his Qatari counterpart Sheikh Mohammed Al Thani in the Mediterranean city of New Alamein. Speaking at a joint press conference, Premier Madbouli said the package reflects the strength of bilateral relations and the shared commitment to sustainable economic development, serving the interests of both peoples. He confirmed that specific strategic projects under the deal would be unveiled in the coming weeks during a formal signing ceremony. According to the Prime Minister, Egypt has introduced wide-ranging reforms to attract foreign direct investments, including tax and customs incentives, regulatory streamlining, and policies aimed at bolstering the private sector. He asserted that creating an enabling environment for both Egyptian and Qatari private enterprises is at the top of Egypt's priorities. For his part, Sheikh Al-Thani reaffirmed Qatar's commitment to investing in Egypt's economic future, describing the new economic package as a foundation for deepened cooperation in trade, industry and infrastructure. Both premiers also discussed broader regional issues and stressed the importance of closer coordination in supporting stability and prosperity. The $7.5 billion figure traces back to a joint statement in Doha in April 2025 when the two countries agreed to work towards a package of direct Qatari investments in Egypt. Egypt's business community is looking ahead with optimism to the Central Bank of Egypt's CBE Monetary Policy Committee meeting, hoping for further steps to support the macroeconomy. Optimism stems largely from a string of positive macroeconomic signals. Current interest rates 24% on deposits and 25% on overnight lending are widely seen as excessively high. The CBE also last May projected inflation to fall sharply to between 14 to 15% in 2025 and 10 to 12% in 2026, down from nearly 28.4% in 2024. The Egyptian pound has strengthened to 48.3 per dollar, compared with around 52 weeks earlier. Unemployment fell to 6.1% in quarter 2 2025, down from 6.3% in quarter 1. Meanwhile, Egypt's non-oil private sector showed signs of stabilization in July, with employment rising for the first time in 9 months, which improved to 49.5 from 48.8 in June. Foreign exchange inflows are also increasing. Standard Chartered noted that portfolio and official investments continue to support confidence in the pound, with expectations that more than half a $12.5 billion investment pledge from Qatar and Kuwait will be disbursed by year-end. Remittances surged 60% year-on-year in March, further improving the current account outlook. Egypt's economy recorded 4.3% growth in the second quarter of the fiscal year 2024-2025. Meanwhile, foreign direct investment surged from about $10 billion in the fiscal year 2023-2024 to $46.1 billion in the fiscal year 2024-2025, boosting foreign reserves, increasing private investment and helping shift the economic infrastructure toward more export-oriented and tradable sectors. The current account deficit narrowed to $13.2 billion in the first 9 months of the fiscal year 2024-2025, down from about $17.1 billion in the same period last year.
Welcome back. So we'll talk about Qatari FDI in Egypt and the economic summit that gathered Egypt and Qatar, and prospects of investments in Egypt under the ongoing tensions in the Middle East and the world. To shed more light on this issue, we are joined by Mr. Ahmed, Khattab, economic expert, member of the Egyptian-Canadian Council. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure to be with you.
Well, let's kick off with this latest economic summit between Egypt and Qatar, and the Qatari pledged to channel almost $7.5 billion into Egypt, and they will target sectors like real estate and food security. How far you think that will achieve some boosting in these sectors?
Yes, first of all, let me in starting send a special thanks to our President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt, and President Tamim, President of Qatar, for the one relation between the two leaders reflected 100% to the economic situation. In last week, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and the Prime Minister of Qatar make a B2B meeting in Egypt in order to start investment in Egypt by $7.5 billion in the field of real estate, in the field of food industries, in the field of agriculture, in the field of tourist sector also, because Qatar invests in Egypt in real estate and in tourist sector and in food and beverage. And we aim more investment, especially in the field of fertilizers. Why fertilizers? Because Egypt, as a main recovery of oil and gas, especially in GCC or Gulf, have accumulated relation in this field, and we can invest more and more in Egypt, especially after Egypt will be a hub for liquid gas in Middle East by supporting from a lot of Arab and many different countries in the region. Egypt is an open market for foreign and Arab direct investment. Last week we find more than $7.5 billion from Qatar in Egypt. Mainly will be focused in real estate. Why real estate? Because Qatar and Egypt have already a lot of mega project in field of real estate, even it's a compound or building, or even it's a hotel and resort in Hurghada, resort in North Costa or Ras Al Hikma, for example. And if we go back for more 6 months, already we have a mega project between Egypt and United Arab Emirates, and also is a key country as in GCC, investing by more than $35 billion in the field of real estate and Ras Al Hikma. It's a booming and huge kind of investment. Why all this Arab country come to Egypt to invest in the field of real estate or many different fields? Egypt is ready 100% in infrastructure and in support.
Yes, that was my question. Why mainly real estate? Why not industry? Why not agriculture?
Why real estate? Profitability of real estate reach sometimes 70% and sometimes 80%. All country in the world.
That's very high, even according to international ratios.
Why high? Because Egypt is a hub. And Egypt is a unique country in Middle East. We have a very wonderful location in the front of Mediterranean Sea and also Red Sea, and we have a wonderful weather for 6 months at least in the year, and this is not happened in any different place. So Egypt is a shiny country every time. A lot of resort in Hurghada, in Sharm el-Sheikh, in Ras Al Hikma, in Sokhna, in Aswan. For example, the King of Spain and the Queen of Spain enjoys accommodation in Egypt and will go to Luxor in order to visit for 4 days, and this is a long visit from King of Spain and his queen and her queen, and this reflects a wonderful and the strategic location of Egypt, not only to Arab and also to Europe, for example, and to also USA country. So all country want to spend more and more in the field of real estate. Then in the field of tourists, because it's also included higher profitability, and in industry field, even its car industry, food industry, and so on. But why real estate? Because real estate profitability more than the industry, and it's only a basic in United Arab Emirates also, for example. But the profitability in Egypt is more than profitability in Dubai. Why? Because Egypt is a huge market, more than 120 million of people, and also a lot of foreign investors from Arab country want to invest in the field of real estate in Egypt, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from Bahrain, and from Kuwait. All these Arab countries invest also in this in Egypt in the field of real estate, and we hope to make export of real estate to a lot of many different countries in all over the world.
In terms of GDP, how far such investments help or affect sustainable development in Egypt?
Yes, sustainable development file and sustainable investment file and the Egypt vision for 2030 take place from not now, from more than 6 years. And all the cabinet working together with the government and with the private sector in order to submit sustainable development goals. All community build in Egypt now is sustainable 100%. For example, New Capital Administration City, sustainable 100%. Also New Alamein City, sustainable 100%. And the new community in Fifth Settlement and in Sheikh Zayed, for example, also all mega project is sustainable and matching with the Sustainable Development Goals, and all international community send a positive message about the respect of Egypt to Sustainable Development Goals and on all files. And a lot of mega conference held in Egypt supporting this, especially after Egypt hosting COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. And we're starting a lot of mega projects in the field of sustainable development, and we will be in a very good position in this point.
Okay. Qatar pledged to pump 7.5 billion US dollars in direct investment in Egypt. How far that will help secure much needed fund to and increase investors' confidence in Egypt?
Yes, it's a wonderful amount of foreign direct investment to come in 1 month, and this is very effective also to the central bank reserve from currency of the dollars or euro. We reach more than 50 billion US dollars, and this is the first time Central Bank of Egypt have this amount of money. This is reflected positively to the all investors, even it's local or overseas. Why? Because all investors want to come to Egypt to invest should be secured the raw material imported from abroad to be have a surplus foreign currency in central bank, and also the machine or the machine or equipment needed in the industry field. All at the end of the year, the profitability of this company, I want to make a transfer of the part of profitability at the end of the year to my country. Even I'm, for example, Saudi Arabian investor. So at the end of the year, I have profitability. So I have the right to make transfer of my profitability to my country. So once we have a surplus in foreign currency, so it will be very easy to make this. So stability in foreign exchange rate, dollars against EGB also is very effective. We have more than 2 years stability in the exchange rate, and all the industry need to make import of raw material or new machines from abroad. It have approval from central bank, so through 1 week only. So this is well reflected to stability in foreign exchange rate, and stability in the surplus of foreign currency in central bank. Even we have shortage in the income from New Suez Canal corridor and New Suez Canal logistics area because of the instability between Gaza and Israel. But we make compensation in the field of Egyptian working abroad, reached 33 billion US dollar from starting from May 2024 until from July 2024 until May 2025, and this is a huge amount of transfer. And also the tourist sector in the first half of 2025 reached more than 9 billion US dollar, and we expect to make a closing of this year at least by 18 billion dollar, and this is a huge amount from tourist sector. Because of this, send you a message. All Arab countries want to invest, especially in resort in Hurghada and resort in Sharm el-Sheikh and also on North Coast, because we have a high profitability compared by any different country in the same area, and we have stability from many more than 5 years in the field of tourists. Day by day and day by year, profitability of tourist sector increase, and we hope more and more investment in the field of tourists. Why? Because Egypt is an attractive market for tourists, especially after we were launching in 1st of November the new museum and
the Grand Egyptian Museum.
Yes, it will be a wonderful and unique famous opening of such a museum, because it was a huge amount of investment in this museum, and included also many different category of antiques. So a lot of many key countries in the world, from Germany, from Paris, all presidents will come and participate in the launching, and Prince Sisi day by day increase the amount of invitations sent to the leaders of the international community and the country, and also ambassadors from all embassies in Egypt will participate in the launching, and the prime minister from many different countries, even it's Arab or foreign country. But we also the media from all over the world will come in order to cover the opening ceremony. So starting from November. Why November? Because after November we have a Christmas holiday and we have end of year holiday, and this is a wonderful season for all visitors to come and enjoy accommodation in Egypt and visit pyramids and visit ancient Egyptian museum.
So we're talking about FDI in real estate, in tourism. The question is, what are the effects of FDI in these two sectors, mainly on employment rates?
Yes. Today we make a revision of the employment rate. It's decreased, and also inflation rate decrease. All of this done because of the FDI of the real estate. Because why real estate? Because real estate included a huge number of employees and present a very good salary, even it's a daily salary or monthly salary or annual salary. Why? Because real estate including a lot of citizens from many different governments from Egypt, even from Upper Egypt, from Bahira, from Kafr Sheikh. All these governments send an employee working in the field of building and plantation of land, the reclamation of land, also beside the indoor and outdoor maintenance of the building. So a huge number of employees working in the field of real estate, even in North Costa, even in New Ahmed City, even New Capital City, or even in Fifth Settlement or Sheikh Zayed. All this area including a lot of building starting, and also at the same time the government is spending more and more in infrastructure, and infrastructure take also a huge number of employment employees from many different governments, and covered by social insurance and supported by a very high salary and accepted salary. So it will be add value to the income of every family in Egypt.
So if we're talking about Egypt and the growth in GDP, it recorded 4.3% growth in the second quarter of the fiscal year 2024-2025. How do you read that? What are the implications of that?
This is need to send a special thanks to the cabinet because it's work in harmony, especially the economic cabinet like Minister of Trade, Minister of Finance, Minister of Planning and Minister of Trade. All these ministers in the cabinet working together in order to increase the growing rate. If we go back for 2 years, it reached around only 2%. Nowadays it's reached to 4.3%, and this is a wonderful percentage related to the political instability in the area, especially the war between Gaza and Israel. And also...
So I think if there was no political or tensions in the Middle East,
yes,
would have recorded more figures.
If we don't have this war, and if we don't have Ukraine and the Spanish war also, the normal percentage of
Ukraine and Russia.
Yes, Ukraine and Russia. The normal percent, it will be 7%. If you go back before the COVID-19 pandemic, we will reach to 6.2 and 6.5, and the plan can to reach 7%. Why 7%? Because also the plan of the income of New Suez Corridor and the New Suez Canal area to have a year profitability more than 16 or 17 billion US dollars, and this is a normal record related to the movement of ships during the Suez Canal corridor. But because of the instability in the area, number of tourists increased, so profitability of tourists decreased from the plan, for example, for 25 billion to 18 billion, and this is also a wonderful amount related to the instability in the area. And also the income of New Suez Canal decreased by 50% at least, and this is also a huge amount. In the same time, the investment on the new canal logistics area decreased. Even we have more stability, the country invests in New Suez Canal logistics area will increase more and more, and a lot of industry open and take place. For example, we have Chinese area and we have Spanish area, and we have also Russian area, industrial area, but we hope more and more countries to come and invest. Also the field of plantation and reclamation of land decreased, but not yet increased as a percentage. But if we have more stability, it will increase more and more, especially in new delta and new land. We will make a plantation and reclamation in the future. So some instability in the world affect the growing rate, but we still have a positive record 4.3, it will be accepted, especially nowadays.
Well, if we talk about the performance of the Egyptian economy and pillars in which Egyptian economy depends on, how far industry participate in the Egyptian GDP?
But industry separated from the petroleum and gas recovery, participating by the great percentage in GDP, but we still need more and more. We already have some rich industries in the, like petrochemical industry. We make export of all phosphates and all fertilizers to Europe and to Africa at the same time. We have car industry nowadays take place, and some electric machine industry will take place, and a lot of this product exported to Europe, and some exported to Africa, and some exported to GCC country and some Arab country in the region. Especially new country needs support like Libya and Iraq, and also Syria in the future. We will make mutual trade between Egypt and Syria after more stability, and we start to make upgrading to railways industry in Egypt, and a lot of mega industry like steel industry in Egypt also take place. And Minister of Trade, General Kamel Wazir, take a lot of support, especially to stop industry related to some supporting from the banking sector by loans in order to start a new operation again, and working together with the governmental industry in order to support the local market, and then increase the size and number of export to all over the world. And the government is spending more and more in the fight of increasing and encouraging export by supporting all company and all industry increase the size and in the field of export by make some exception in the taxing law, and make some support from loans by very low interest, and supporting export incentive also.
Okay, so Egypt is focusing on localizing industry and technology. In that light, do you think we should also give incentives to investors, international investors, in fields of microchips industry or certain industries that Egypt can have major, impact on the international and regional industry level in?
Yes, Egypt all time make incentive to all industry, even its local industry from Egyptian businessman or Arab businessman or international company or multinational company wanted to enter to the local market Egypt. For example, we have cooperation with America. For example, a lot of mega car industry with cooperation with America take place in 6th of October. With Germany, we have a mega cooperation between Egypt and German company working in the car industry in October. And nowadays we have a mega project between Egypt and Chinese company already. And more by more, we increase the different field. We have petrochemical industry with cooperation with a multinational company and Arab country. We have also in the field of pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical is add value to Egypt because Egypt, as we said before, 120 million citizens, and all of this need very health care recovery from the government. Even it's the pharmaceutical, especially some kind of the pharmaceutical product supported and subsidized from the Egyptian government. So it will be add value to increase the volume of industry in Egypt with cooperation with the key countries like Germany, like France, because France is more advanced in Europe, and also from Canada, because Canada is more advanced in the field of health care and in the field of education. Also support and invest more and more with many different countries in the field of education. Why education? Education is add value because once we have a very high standard of education, so we will have in the future a fresh graduate by international experience, able to work and compete in local market and able to work abroad. And as we said before, the Egyptian worker abroad transfer to Egypt reaching to 33 billion US dollar, and this is a very huge amount of dollar come to GDP and come to the reserve of the Central Bank of Egypt. So it will be add value to Egypt to graduate a qualified doctor, qualified engineering, have the license and have the approval to work in Egypt and outside Egypt. So in order to covering the local market first and then working abroad, and will be ambassador to Egypt in speak about Egypt as a proud Egyptian and make a wonderful communication with the international community, and in the same time make a transfer of all saving month by month to Egypt. So it will also be add value to the Egyptian economy, and Egypt present more and more incentive to Egyptian working abroad in purchasing real estate building, or make import of car by a very low price, and some incentive also in the saving in the governmental bank, and all this incentive also increasing month by month the Egyptian working abroad. And this is also great effort from the government sector and the central bank sector and the banking sector in Egypt.
So we're still talking about Egyptian GDP growth, which is 4.3%, the second quarter of the fiscal year 2024-2025. Do you think, if we talk about the resilience of the Egyptian economy in light of commodity prices, international commodity prices, and global financial conditions, how far the Egyptian economy can face such challenges?
Yeah, we face some challenges more than nowadays. Starting from 2019, COVID-19, and after this, the Ukrainian-Russian war, and after this, the Israel-Gaza war. But in all year, the Egyptian economy is very solid, and the cabinet try all time to solving any problem facing the Egyptian economy and decrease the effect of the international community related to, by negative related to the Egyptian economy, and they try all time to protect the investors and the employee working on all company, and they're trying all the time to make some support loans to all industry needs this, or organization needs this loan, and sometimes the government make postponed of loans as a date by 6 months, like in COVID, for example. If you go back, all loans postponed for 6 months with a very low percentage of interest, and this is accepted from all businessmen. And in the same time, all the government make support, positive incentive in tax field, in launching of new industry by golden license to open new industry, and by presenting also a lot of consultancy to any company needs this for free from a governmental center or from some businessman center like Egyptian Business Association, for example, for supporting training of industry or training of employee, and all this NGO community work in the field of industry and supporting industry project and supporting investor in Egypt. So I think all times the cabinet and Egypt supporting the private sector, especially we have in Egypt 50% for the private sector of investment, and the other 50% managed by the government, and at the end that 100% of all files related to industry or any kind of investment, even it's in healthcare or in education. So we can find 50% government and 50% private sector, and the two sectors working together in order to survive from any challenge related to the international community instability problems.
Well, in light of Egypt's Vision 2030, in your opinion, what are the sectors in the Egyptian economy that could lead Egyptian economy in the coming 5 or 10 years?
The first, green economy, green ammonia, green nitrogen, especially after COP27. Egypt spend more and more in this file. Also solar energy power, like Benban power, electricity power station. A lot of most of production of Benban will be exported to the international country like Saudi Arabia, like Jordan, like Libya, and already we have a connection. The field of also fertilizers, because it's a booming sector, especially green ammonia, and they spend more and more in this sector. Also the field of solar energy, power, and reclamation of land, also, and reclamation and implementation of land, especially in New Delta. It will take place. It also will be support the economy, and some industry.
Some industries. I was waiting for industry because I was hoping that
electricity car industry, because it's matching with
electric cars.
Electric cars, because it's matching with the policy of sustainable development goals 100%, because it's reduced the CO2 emissions and working by electricity, and this is vital for the environment and matching for the environment also policy.
But are we prepared for these industries? I mean, electric cars and such industries.
Yeah,
do we have the infrastructure needed for that?
Yeah, but we spend more and more in infrastructure to the industry, and electric car also. We already have some agreement with China and some agreement with India and some agreement with Japan also in this file, and it will take place, and during 1 year by maximum we have car made in Egypt working by electric car made in Egypt 100%, and already the price of electric car compared to the normal car, it will be more cheaper, and also the government makes some exemption from tax on the importer of the raw material in order to present it to the Egyptian citizen by very cheap price.
Okay, if we talk about the performance of the Egyptian economy, which is doing well so far, GDP growth 4.3%. The $1 million question: when will the Egyptian citizen start to feel that? I mean, when will that be reflected on the income of the Egyptian citizen?
In order for every Egyptian citizen to have a nice satisfaction from the growing rate, so it will be at least 7% for Egyptian.
At least.
At least, in order to the normal customer have a self-satisfaction. But 4.3, it's accepted as we forecast according to the instability in the region. But year by year, if we planned, for example, for 25-26 to reach 6% or 5.5%, so once we increase by 1 or 2%, so the more satisfaction to every Egyptian citizen will take place. But 4.3, it's not meet our expectation about the growing rate. But the government day by day spend more time and effort in order to increase the growing rate. But 4.3% compared to the other country in the area, it's accepted according to the instability circumstances nowadays take place in the world. But once the Israeli-Gaza war stopped and the Ukrainian-Russian war stopped, so the growing rate in Egypt will jump to 6.5 or 7% during only 6 to 7 months. Why? Because, as we said before, all source of income related to Suez Canal corridor increase, and related to logistics increase, related to foreign Arab investment in Egypt increase, because Egypt try all time to protect border and spend more and more in this fight, and this is very high cost to the Egyptian military force in order to take place also. Keep some of money from our budget, spend more and more in order to protect our border, and investing in more weapons imported from abroad in order to protect the border. And this is the right of Egypt to be very strong enough in order to stop any attack from any different countries, especially Israel. And as Israel nowadays try to make some instability in the area with Syria, with Lebanon, and with Gaza, and with Iran. So we should take care of our country, and this is, we need to spend more and more in the fight of military force in Egypt. And thanks to our God, we have already very strong position of the Egyptian military force compared to the other army force in the area, and by a lot of international association in this field. Egypt is one of the top 10 in all over the world as a military force, and this is also great effort from Mr. Sisi and the Minister of Defense in Egypt.
Okay, still talking about the GDP growth, which is 4.3%. In spite of this record, we still hear that we need more economic reform. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Egypt year by year applied economic reform process will take place, and economic reform we already agreed before with the International Monetary Fund and with the World Bank in order to be able to take more loans in the future. Because loans in Egypt will be add value, especially in the mega project like electricity. If we go back for 3 years or more, we don't have enough electricity to cover all building and all industry in Egypt. Nowadays we have surplus in electricity and they make export of electricity to Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Libya and all of us and Palestine and Gaza also before this war. But nowadays we have surplus electricity and we have stability even in our home or even in the field of industry. Water recycle also, this is a mega project also, and some governmental project like railway, like new railway and the connection between Egypt by very new railway and the trains. This week we will receive first train from Germany, for example. It's more advanced and the speed reached to 250 kilometers per hour. This is very wonderful. Will encourage the tourists to go from Cairo to Aswan in only 5 or 6 hours instead of 24 hours, for example. And this is encourage tourist sector and encourage the investment also to come and invest in Egypt. So any investor in all over the world, in order to come to invest in any country, looks to education sector, healthcare sectors, infrastructure sectors, and governmental sector also related to governmental services presented to investor, and also banking loans or banking facility, and some governmental incentive presented to any investor to Egypt, and Egypt in all files present more and more in order to be more attractive country for foreign and Arab direct investors.
So if we go to gas and oil industry in Egypt, and obviously Egypt is trying to a little bit invest more away from oil and gas industry in Egypt, because it wants more industries to be localized in the Egyptian market and Egyptian economy. But talking of the oil and gas industry in Egypt, how far you think it helps Egypt in when it comes to GDP growth?
Yeah, file of liquid gas, especially recovery after Binban, after Zohr, and a lot of many offshore gas recovery. Once we have a surplus in liquid gas, so a lot of industry related to fertilizer industry and many mega industry related to need liquid gas increases year by year also.
Yes, back to the production of electricity, and you talked about that a lot, but when we connect the production of electricity to industry, it is well known that industry and certain industries need a lot of electricity. Are we ready enough to start and invest more in industry when it comes to infrastructure of electricity and so on? Is Egypt ready for?
Yes, Egypt ready 100%, especially in the field of...
I'm talking especially about electricity, providing electricity.
Already we have a new capital emission station, and it's more smart. We import it from Germany and work by 5G, and this is most updated station in the field of electricity. And we have already solar energy power in Aswan also, and this is a record solar energy power of electricity. And we have another one in Beliswave, another one in many different areas, not remember, but all this electricity station working together and connected together present a lot of electricity related to industry field and related to also home services in Egypt, and this is a wonderful mega project, especially most of this station working by liquid gas. And in Egypt we have surplus in liquid gas, and we expect more and more recovery in liquid gas, especially with cooperation with Italy, for example, and with Europe also, for example. And a lot of international countries need to make a new recovery of offshore liquid gas in Egypt, because we have surplus in ETCO and we have surplus in Dumyat, and in every area in Egypt we have a surplus of liquid gas. Once we invest more in recovery, so every year we have new recovery offshore oil and gas recovery project. And
you mean discovery project?
Yeah, discovery project. And
yes.
the Minister of Petroleum today make a meeting with the Prime Minister and the President Sisi in order to make a final report about the new recovery we will take place in the coming 1 or 2 years, for example.
So, talking of new discoveries, do you think that goes back because, or that's the reason behind that is agreements signed between Egypt and major oil and gas companies around the globe that Egypt offered incentives, more incentives to them, so they would come and search for gas and oil?
Yes. First, more incentive presented from the Egyptian government. Second, is the political and economic stability in Egypt. Third, the surplus of liquid gas and oil and the gas in Egypt also as a reserve. So any company from all over the world, from British Petroleum, for example, from British, for example, in order to invest in Egypt, should have surplus liquid gas reserve, and should have economic and political stability. Why? Because the recovery of oil and gas project take from 3 to 5 years. So it's a huge...
and it takes a lot of money.
Yes, and spend before a lot of money in order to take some profitability or collect your money you spend. Yani every recovery oil and gas project need for at least $500 million in order to take operation.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, and the income will come after 4 or 5 years. So because of this, you need stability, economic. Why, Mr.? If you make a comparison between Egypt and Sudan, for example, in Egypt to have economic and political stability, so a lot of mega company want to make recovery also of gold in Egypt. But if you compare the reserve in Sudan and the reserve in Egypt, Sudan better than Egypt as a reserve. But any economic instability and political instability in Sudan makes the international community worried about of the future. Even come and spend more and more of recovery of gold in Sudan, and after 2 years the political changes in Sudan and the new president of Sudan, for example, not accepting the last agreement. So it will lead to loss the multinational company investing in this. But in Egypt we have a Canadian company want to come to Egypt in order to invest in the gold recovery, gold and mining. Not only gold, ammonium, and many different iron and many different field of mining also, and phosphate, because Egypt make an export of all phosphate recovery into America, for example. And so economic and political stability in Egypt support multinational companies to come and invest together in Egypt by agreement, make a reserve of the right to Egypt and reserve the right to investor also to make a transfer of all profitability at the end of the year. And this is also new to new amendment, new investment law take place in Egypt also.
Well, as a member of Egyptian Canadian Council, what are the sectors of interest to Canadian investors in Egypt?
First, the first sector, mining, especially in the field of gold.
Yes.
Second, railway and infrastructure. Third, healthcare.
What sort of infrastructure?
Infrastructure, new railway station and a new train, even it's by electric train or monorail, for example, and also some buses and some ships, and a lot of some vehicles, especially because Canada more advanced in this field. Also, field of healthcare and field of education and field of programming and presenting services by international agencies. A lot of services like IT and...
You mean outsourcing?
Fintech, for example, programming, computer science. So all this field more advanced in Canada, and Canada have a bad weather, gold around 5 or 6 months. So a lot of Canadian citizens want to enjoy a holiday in Egypt because Egypt is shiny, and so because of this, a lot of tourists come to enjoy the holiday.
Can you tell us of any figures of Canadian tourists coming to Egypt?
I'm not remember the figure now, but
yes,
it's represented by a good number of Canadian citizen, and also we have cooperation in the field of in education with Canada. A lot of Canadian university launched in new administration capital city and also in Cairo, and we have a cooperation in the field of healthcare, even it's a governmental program or the private sector also program. And nowadays a lot of mega company in the field of mining in the gold from Canada, and this is hierarchy one or the two in the world, and want to invest in the gold mining in Egypt, and they will spend more and more in this fight. And Minister of Transportation also make a lot of agreement with Canada in the field of railway and the transportation with file, because Canada more advanced in this sector.
So can you give us some figures concerning import and export between Egypt and Canada? What do we import from them? What do we export to them?
Figure I'm not ready to say.
Okay.
But it's accepted mutual trade and cooperation between the two countries, and this is also reflected the wonderful relation between the presidents of two countries, and the wonderful achievement of the Business Council, Egyptian Business Council, Canadian Council, and also the B2B meeting and the B2B visits between Egypt and Canada, attended by Minister of Foreign Affairs and attended by the ambassadors of the two countries. So the wonderful also of the relation between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Ambassador of Canada in Egypt. And by the way, the Ambassador of Canada, now located nowadays in Egypt, speaks Arabic very well, and this will facilitate the dialogue with Egyptian businessmen and diplomatic businessmen also, and this is encourage encourage the trade between the two countries. And the ambassador of Canada Egypt working with Egyptian citizen as a friend, and this is facilitate a lot of a challenge related to the mutual trade between the two countries. But year by year the mutual trade increased by the two countries, and in a strategic fight. Okay.
Yeah.
And we expand more cooperation in the future between Egypt and Canada in the field of industry especially, and in the field of also plantation and decommission of land, and the field of education. We still need more and more investors from Canada to come and take operation in Egypt, because as we said, it's more advanced, and Canada is an open market for the Egyptian doctors and engineering working abroad, and also open market for new employees to working in Canada. And Canada and Egypt have a friendship and have a strategic relation, should reflected more and more to the mutual of trade, and we as Egyptian citizen and Canadian citizen love each other, and this is will encourage the trade. And Canada is a healthy country, not looking for war or not working only for high education, high level of income, high level of health care. So it's a wonderful country. And
so what do we export to Canada? I mean,
we export to Canada some fertilizers. And some real estate product, also like some milk, and some fruits, especially orange and lemon. And we expect to export more and more for many different sweet potatoes, for example, and many different things, because the weather in Canada is very cold. Around 4 to 5 months is all the road included by all the road closed because of the bad weather. And Egypt as a country advanced in the field of fresh fruit, and so we make export of all fresh fruit to Canada, and Canada love it very much.
Okay, Mr. Ahmed Khattab, economic expert, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Let's see you tomorrow with a new episode of Daily Debate. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.